Hello, today we're going to do Anchor 5, Cell Growth and Reproduction. When we look at the first slide here, we're going to talk about the structure of DNA. The monomers that make up DNA are called nucleotides. Nucleotides have three parts to them. We have the sugar, which looks like a little house here. We have the phosphate, which looks like a chimney or a balloon coming off of it. And we have the base here. There are four bases that DNA has. That is adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. If we look at the next slide, the structure of DNA, you see that it is made up of, it's a double helix, and you see that it has a sugar phosphate, sugar phosphate, sugar phosphate backbone, and that the rungs of the ladder, which holds them together here, are the bases, where they are complementary, where A pairs with T and G pairs with C. The chromosome structure. DNA is loosely coiled up, and it's called chromatin. That's how it fits in the nucleus. It's coiled up, kind of like yarn is coiled up, and if we slowly unwind it, it would be 2 meters long. Prior to cell division, the chromatin condenses, coils up more, and compacts into compact structures called chromosomes. So if we can see here at the bottom of the slide, this is a chromosome, and it kind of resembles the letter X. And we see that each side here, this is a chromatid, and this particular side is a chromatid, and it's held together in the middle by a centromere. And if you look at the word centromere, it represents center, C-E-N-T-E-R. So the centromere is located in the center, and it holds together the two chromatid sides. When we look at the next slide, we're going to talk about chromosome numbers. Humans have 46 chromosomes, or 23 pairs. And these are what we call somatic cells. And somatic cells are also given the name body cells. We have 44, or what we call 22 pairs of autosomes. And these autosomes determine our trait like hair, eye color, height, etc. We also have 2 sex chromosomes, or 1 pair. 44 plus 2 is 46. 22 plus 1 is 23. The sex chromosomes determine our gender. If we are male, we have XY. If we are female, we have XX. So when we look at the chromosome number, 46 chromosomes is twice the number that come together, and that is diploid. And di means 2, hence we get 2N. So if you get 1 set of chromosomes from mom and you get 1 set from dad, you get them from the egg and the sperm uniting. Another term for sex cell is called gamete. So when we look at the gamete, they are what we call haploid. They contain half the number of chromosomes. So the egg contains 23 chromosomes, the sperm contains 23 chromosomes. It's a haploid number, or it's half the number. We refer to it as N. The next slide shows us the cell cycle. In this particular one, we're talking about mitosis. There are 2 parts to the cell cycle. We have interphase. An interphase consists of G1, which stands for growth, the first growth. S, where S stands for synthesis. where DNA is duplicated. That's where the replication occurs. And we have G2, which is another growth period. And the second part to the cell cycle is what we call mitosis. And mitosis occurs and it has 4 phases: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. An easy way to remember the order is Pitt made a touchdown. Pitt, P, prophase, made, M, metaphase, A, anaphase, T, telophase, touchdown. And then finally, the cell cycle was concluded by cytokinesis, where the cytoplasm divides. So if we look at the phases and the pictures, we can see that in interphase, you can see that the nucleus is still intact. There's no dotted lines. And you can see that this is all this coily DNA. It's coiled up and it's not in the form of an X. In prophase, P, the preparation, what we can observe from this picture is that the nucleus is starting to break apart. And we see this by the dotted lines. We also start to see chromosomes are condensing. So we start to see them as X's rather than the coiled up here in interphase. So there's a difference. A dotted line showing the nucleus breaking down, and the chromosomes are condensing, and you can see the letter X. As we move along in metaphase, we see, in mitosis, we see metaphase, M. We see middle. The chromosomes are lined up in the middle of the cell. And you can see that they are attached here by the spindle fibers. A, the next phase, is anaphase, away, and the chromatids are being separated by the spindle fibers. And they are elongating, the cell is elongating, and it's moving towards the opposite poles. Next we have telophase. Telophase begins with a T. Twin begins with a T, or 2 cells that we see here. And they are identical. We see the last part is cytokinesis with a C, cut C, and the cells now have been separated or cut into 2 identical separate cells. When we look at meiosis, meiosis occurs to make sex cells. Meiosis, there are 2 divisions, because the first division, you have to have the number of chromosomes. Your body cell starts at 46, and they have to have them to 23, and then it goes through a mitosis again, where it divides, or doesn't divide, where it makes 4 different sperm cells. And spermatogenesis occurs in the testicles. Meiosis in females is called oogenesis. It occurs in the ovaries. It results in an ovum, or an egg, and 3 polar bodies. Again, meiosis goes through 2 divisions, where you start here with 46. After meiosis 1, it cuts in half the number of chromosomes, because the egg and the sperm both have to be cut in half to 23. So when they come together in fertilization, it equals 46. And it goes through meiosis 2, where it goes through a mitotic, where you are left with a polar body, a polar body, a polar body, a total of 3, and 1 single egg. This next slide, we talk about sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. And they have pros and cons for both. The pros for sexual reproduction are lots of genetic diversity. There are no 2 people that look alike, with the exception of identical twins. The con of sexual reproduction is few offspring in 9 months. And you need to find a mate. And that uses energy. You have to find someone to reproduce with. For asexual, the pros are many offspring in a short period of time, and there's no need to find any mates. It is asexual. You don't need to make gametes either. The con is, although it's fast and you don't need a mate, there's little genetic diversity. They are all identical. Both of these have pros and cons, and they're both needed, and they both serve a purpose. This next slide sums a lot of this up, where you have gametes. The gametes include the sex cells, the egg, and the sperm. And the sperm contains 23 chromosomes, and the egg contains 23 chromosomes. When the egg and the sperm unite, that is called fertilization. And through the process of fertilization, a zygote is formed, where you have 46 chromosomes, which is twice the number, and these are diploid. And the zygote then will start to develop and grow. You have a baby, you have a toddler, you have an elementary school, you have pre-adolescence, you go through puberty, and you are considered an adult. Through the process of mitosis, you will grow and develop the body cells. When you reach adulthood, puberty, that you produce your gametes, the egg and the sperm, through the process of meiosis. Meiosis has 2 divisions, and mitosis has 1 division. Through the process of mitosis, you get 2 daughter cells. Through the process of meiosis, you get 4 daughter cells. Mitosis is genetically identical. Genetically identical. And meiosis is not genetically identical. Not genetically identical. And this is a very shortened version of Anchor 5 note.